Greetings. Greetings. Patrick here. Have Cheetah will view 8 questions with, and welcome to the show. Super stoked you guys are here. We are walking inside October. That's right, October. You probably are expecting me to say the spectacular, but unfortunately, the spectacular is not going to be happening the way it usually is. There's still going to be some fun things going on there, but it's not going to be as widespread as it has been in the past. Um, I suppose Hop should fire this public relations person who was supposed to get out there and get the word out about this spectacular. And so, I mean, if he's watching this, Josh, you're more than welcome to fire my ass because I didn't do it this year. I admit it. I don't know what happened. I All I know is that normally I'd be all over the spectacular, but it's just been crazy this year, and I just lost. Honestly, I really lost track of time. um, but anyway, it's still going to be a fun October. Now we're starting off things off tonight a little differently. Now I know a lot of people are going to expect me to do a lot of spooky stuff in October, and we will. We do. We got some surprises for you, for sure. But we're going to go a little bit different for this time. We're going to start off with interviewing a novelist named Anita Waggoner. She is a novelist. She has a brand new book out, Dakota Wells. Uh, did I say that right? Did I say that right? Okay. See, that's what happens. That's what happens when you get old. Um, so yes, we're going to be talking with Anita about her writing, and she is also a producer, and she has a passion project that she is trying to get off the. I did say Dakota Wells. I got it right. Give myself a pat on the back. Um, but she is working on a passion project called Freedom, and it's an important project to her, and she has a Facebook page group for it, and you guys can all come over and check it out. I want to give our friend and former guest Rocky Reynolds. He's the one that introduced me to Anita, and you're more than happy to anybody out there who thinks that there's somebody out there who we should be talking to, by all means, introduce us. We have 3 slots a week. Um, be more than happy to talk to anybody. Anybody who wants to talk to us. Um, so this will be our first time talking to Anita, and I've been talking to her off camera, and she seems like a very nice lady, very passionate, very passionate. Um, a little different point of view on certain things, but that's what makes the soup spicy, right? And I can appreciate that. I can appreciate her talent, especially anybody being a novelist. I have nothing but respect for novelists. I mean, that's a hard thing to do. That's a hard thing to do. People say, well, making a movie is a hard thing to do. Yeah, so is writing a novel and then doing it again and again. Anita, her books include Dakota Wells, which I mentioned, Freedom, which she's going to translate into making a movie, The Gambler, not the Brady Hawks one, not Brady Hawks, The Ranch at Huckleberry Ridge, and Cowgirl Logic, and you can get those online at Amazon and at Barnes and Noble. Her books, by all means. So, hey, Tom Baker is here, and there is Eric, our good friend Eric, who I actually threw an idea by him today. I threw an idea by Eric, and he did not come back and say no on it. I think I put something in his head that's going to stick today. I'm so proud of myself too, because now there could be something cool called Shark Match. Yeah. Uh, but thank you so much for thank you so much. No, yeah, yeah. I'm, I'm blocked from my own page. That's how you know. That's how you know I messed up. I'm blocked from my own page, right? But I did come up with a good idea. It is a good idea. Um, Tom, good to see you again. Tom Baker, glad you're here. Anthony's going to be going to the library tomorrow. I went to the library today. And normally a week after we have a bag sale week, as you guys all know, if you guys are friends of the channel, I go to the library every Tuesday, and I go looking for movies there for 25 cents. I admit it. I hunt. I hunt for that 25 cents. There's no shame in my game for that. I'm a budget baller, and I'm proud of it. Um, so normally though, when we go to there to the library on the Tuesday after the bag sale, it's pretty dry. It's really dry because people come in and shop pretty hard. Um, so I wasn't expecting anything today, and then when the lady of the bookstore came out, the manager of the bookstore came out and said that it was really thin. I wasn't expecting anything, but lo and behold, and I put a picture on my Instagram, and also the video down below called Monkey Man. Um, I actually did pretty good. I actually did pretty good. I found 7 movies, including Monkey Man, for today, and I was really shocked by that because I didn't expect to get squat. Um, so um, so Anthony will be going to the library tomorrow. Let me tell you what's coming up on the channel because we have a lot of fun things planned out, and I'm working hard at them. In fact, I should go ahead and write this down now before I forget because that does happen. So today is Anita Waggoner. Um, Tomorrow we will see a scare actor. Frankie Paracchio will be here tomorrow. Unfortunately, he will not be in makeup. Well, it's all right. We're still going to talk to him about his about scare acting. I was hoping to get hope that we get some sort of makeup on because his pictures that he has on his social media is outstanding, outstanding. Um, but he'll be here tomorrow and eh, about what it's like to work at a haunted house. It is now October. Haunted houses and different attractions are now going up. They're yes, like opening up now. And they're not. They don't do 2 weeks before Halloween anymore. They open up the 1st of October, and for many of them, they'll even stay open for a couple of weeks in November due to the size of the crowd. Um, so we'll be talking to Frankie about his career as a scare actor. What's it like working in various scare houses and sites, and yeah, how does he put it all together? It's really cool because we've had Spooky Kisses on the show before. Her and her husband they go around and they film different haunts, and and the haunts are it's a whole different ball game than what it was when I was growing up. When I was growing up, it was like get a warehouse, throw some spiders around, get a smoke machine going. People come in, they volunteer to put some makeup on, and then you pay like $5 to go through the haunted house. You might get through it in 10-15 minutes. Yeah, those days are gone. Those days are gone. There was a company called Serbius that used to do haunts like that, like massive haunts, but they were like really to truly the only one that did it. Now everybody's doing it. Haunts are everywhere, and they are not just like I said before. They're not just like, okay, it's October 1st. Let's get our stuff together. They plan out what they're doing. It's like a street fair. It's like a festival. It's like a comic convention or movie convention. They start planning for the next year the next day after they close. And that's what happens with the haunts around here now. It's no longer it's a multi-million dollar business every year. Halloween, let's just face it, Halloween is not really a a kids thing anymore. It really isn't. You see less and less kids going out trick or treating. Um, you see less and less cartoons being shown. I mean, there used to be Halloween cartoons. Now you really don't see those anymore. You see a lot of TV shows that aim for the Halloween crowd, the adult crowd. It really is a Halloween. Really is a an adult's holiday, so to speak. And then on Thursday, we are welcoming in our good friend Kyle Curtis Flett. He will be here. He is a fellow tuber, a movie tuber, a cinephile like us. Um, and we will be talking with him Looking forward to that. I'm just glad to be able to sit here and tell you that I'm talking to him. I'm very happy to be able to say that. Yeah, I'm very happy to say that we're happy to talk with Kyle. So he'll be here on Thursday, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. We might have a special guest on that night. I'm not really sure. I gotta double check. We might have a special guest, but if not, well, me and Kyle will chop it up. All right. So then on the 8th of October, we are welcoming in Ron Bonk, who runs and operates SRS Cinema. He is going to be coming onto the show, and super psyched about that. It's really interesting is the fact that talk about feast or famine. So when I first started the show, I really wanted to interview some distributors. Man, I really wanted to. I really wanted to interview Rob from Wild Eye. He was my number one guy. That's the guy I wanted to interview. Um, back before I made him mad. um, Back before I pissed him off. But I would ask him, I says, would you be willing to do a printed interview, 8 questions with? Like I read on my blog. I said, I'll just to do the questions, you answer them. Couldn't get him to commit. Couldn't get him to commit. So I started this show here, and I went back and I asked him, I says, would you be willing to do an interview? And he just wasn't into it. He just never was. Um, I thought there was somebody else, so I thought, well, if anybody can get him to do an interview, it'll be this person here because he's got to connect in really deep with Rob. No, never got it. Never got it. Um, I thought our good friend Steven from the House of Horrors, a fellow podcast. I thought he have a chance at it. Nope, didn't get out of the batter's box. So basically, my first effort to get a distributor to interview went for nothing. It just never happened. But a funny thing happened on the way to the forum is I finally got a chance to start talking to some distributors. Um, we have now talked to quite a few actually. Um, we have talked to Peter Castro from Bayview Entertainment. We have talked to the two gentlemen over that are leading the revival at Anchor Bay. We got our good friend Raymond from uh, c- uh, uh, Cinephile. God, did I get that right? Cinephobe. No, that's not it. Let me get it. Xenophobia. Okay, I knew that was right. Okay. So we got to talk to Raymond Murray from Xenophobia, and and now we're going to be talking with Ron Bonk from SRS Cinema. That's 4 distributors that now we're going to be talking to. That's amazing, and it also sort of tells me a little something too. It tells me when you see distributors who are normally behind the scenes, that's where they're at. You never really ever see them in public. But now we're starting to see that happen. Now we're starting to see them come out and start doing interviews because they have to talk about their company, especially if they're doing physical media, because that's the only way they're going to get out there. You have to get out there now and talk about it. You have to, it used to be just sitting behind the desk, and someone there'd be a spokesperson, or you talk to any one of the filmmakers that are working for them, or having their films distributed by them. Because their name would be out there already. But now they're talking, and I'm glad of it because they're fascinating to talk to. How they pick their movies. The doorbell has rang, and Miss Anita Waggoner is now here, and we're gonna go talk to her. Do you know how this goes? We never let anybody wait to come on in. So please share us out. Thank you, those that are coming in. Let's go talk to novelist and producer Anita Waggoner, and here we go. Ta-da!
Ta-da!
All right, there she is. There she is.
Hi,
Uh,
Patrick.
y- Hi, Anita. How are you?
I'm good.
Yes, I'm very excited for this. October generally always means spooky season, but I knew that going into this, like, you know what? I'm going to go against the grain here. Um, and I'm going to interview you because I want to talk to somebody who's, because right now everybody and their mom is talking Halloween. So to me, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna let everybody else do that. I'm gonna go the
Good.
other way and talk Western novels, movies, passion projects. I said, let's do that with Anita. And hats off to Rocky Reynolds, who
Yeah.
introduced him. Um, Now, did you know that Rocky had actually done a show with me?
I didn't, but he did recommend you highly, so I'm ready.
Yeah, Rocky was on here. He was a fantastic guest, and yeah, so he is is a tremendous supporter in my Facebook group. I'm sure he is with yours as well.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he is a powerhouse, and
He is.
so when he recommended you, I'm like, yeah, I'm in for that. I'm all in. He says, I got somebody for you. And he knows that I love talking with writers and artists and creatives, and such as yourself. Um, so, well, first of all, how was your day today?
I got through it. How's that?
Oh, one of those days.
One of those days, yeah. I'm anxious to watch the debate tonight, so that'll be the end of my day.
It's the debate tonight. We're going against the
Yeah, well, the
debate,
vice presidential, yeah,
right?
candidate.
We're going against that.
In about an
Wha-
hour, you got an hour of my time, and then I got to go.
Well, I was going to say, why are they stepping on our toes? We're gonna roll over them.
I
Um,
didn't understand it.
is it safe to ask you who you, well, I already know because
Oh, you can ask.
writers got to stick together, right?
I hope so. I mean, I'm a
Uh,
Trumpster.
huh?
Trump and
Yeah,
Vance, they're my team.
who is?
Donald Trump.
Oh, whoa, hey, oh,
Oh,
you know what though? You know what? I'm gonna be very, we're gonna put it aside for tonight.
okay.
We're
Good
gonna put that
idea.
aside. Yeah. Not that I'm afraid of it, because I will take on anybody, anywhere, anytime. But this is not about me. This is about
Okay,
you. This is about
good.
you. So let's talk a little bit about novels. Let's talk a little bit of writing.
Okay.
Um, so how did you, yeah, I very well behaved as I always am. I have never lost control of any show at any time. We have always had a great time. Um, I've noticed you have a ton of books out. You're a very prolific writer. So I guess the real question is for me, the first question for me is, when did you start, when did you get the love for writing, for the love of language? How, were you in elementary school, junior high?
I could have been as far back as elementary school, for sure in junior high. I loved writing then. I didn't really get into writing books until I was in my early 50s, so I waited a while to get into that. But I worked for a law firm in Seattle as a paralegal for about 15 years. So I did a lot of writing there, interviewing clients and writing their affidavits and declarations, and kind of kept me going. The writing inspired me to write.
So, I mean, you said you picked up writing novelizations in your 50s. So everything else was just you were just doing your job. Um,
Yeah,
I mean, there's got to be a spark there somewhere on when did you decide that you wanted to, I guess, basically write other people's stories and start writing your own. I mean, even if you are writing writing legal document, I'm sure you're sitting there thinking, this will be and I guess I could ask you this, but have any of your stories or any ideas of some of your stories, have they come from some of the stories that you, some of the reports that you used to have to write for as a paralegal?
No, no.
Mm.
I left that. Gosh, I left that career in the early '90s, and my stories all come from thank goodness they come from my true life experiences. Most of there's always something I can connect with something that's really gone on in my own life when I start a book. Uh, Especially freedom. That's truly a part of my life. It's like a true story, true part of my life. Freedom, my book Freedom, and every one of them have a little Western flair, and they all express some of the things I've gone through in life.
Now, as far as that goes, I mean, was that who were some of the writers that you grew up with? You know, that you because you must have been a prolific reader
Uh,
growing up as well.
I'd like to say I was, but I wasn't. But Danielle Steele, definitely, I like her books. They're easy reading. Gosh, it's been a while since I've even picked up somebody else's book to read, but I'd say I'm more of a prolific writer than a reader, actually. Hate to disappoint, but
Is it hard for you to read other artists' work?
no,
Because
no. Actually, when I started to write, I did read then. I read, trying to think of, can't think of some names, but I did read several books when I decided to start to write my first book, just to get the gist, of writing. Copied them a bit, but
now was that sort of now? Do you write what you know? So when you write Western, your
yeah,
movie, your novels are have a Western theme to it. So is
yeah,
that what you say that is that something you say that it's safe to say that you either read or you watched on TV? Like I'm sure you read Louis L'Amour. I'm sure you read
yeah,
yeah, I'm sure you read all the great Western
yeah.
writers.
My Western writing is more modern day Western, and as a young gal, my grandfather was a stock contractor in the Pacific Northwest. So I grew up around rodeo, cowboys, the Western way of life, and got away from that when I moved to Seattle, of my little hometown of Omak, Washington, and when I was in my early 20s, I went to Seattle and got away from that Western lifestyle for several years. And
Mm.
my first book, Freedom, was inspired by a cowboy that I met in Las Vegas at the National Finals Rodeo, and just totally changed my life. I left the city life and went to live in a little town called Freedom, Oklahoma. And after I stayed for 13 years, but it was after I left there that I knew I had a story to tell, and that was my first book. And I started writing. It took me about 2 years to complete that book, and published in about 2010. And a few years later, did a screenplay on it. So wrote a second book. I'll just rattle on if you want me to.
No,
But
keep
I wrote,
going.
okay, I wrote my second book about 3 years later. I thought, man, I don't want to be a one woman,
I
writer. I
want,
had to prove that I
yeah.
could actually write. Yeah. And it was based a little bit on some experiences that I had working in the online gaming industry in Las Vegas. And it kind of ends with a little Western flair as well. And then it was another 2 or 3 years before I decided to write another one. And recently I've written one, completed one that I started about 10 years ago. And it's a more of a 19th century Western Texas type story, and based a little bit on the Waggoner family, which I am not closely related to, but very distant relation to a family in Texas that owns a huge ranch, the Waggoner Ranch, somewhere around like Vernon, Texas. I had researched them, and so I called this last book Dakota Wells, and it's a lot about their history and a lot of fiction thrown in. But I just released it. It was fun to write, a little more Western there.
Now all these ideas that you generated when you started writing, did you did you have any idea how to get this thing started? Like you're sitting there going like, I could write a document, I could write a legal document, but how in the hell am I going to start writing a novel? Um, was it is it what did you have like a writer circle around? I picked up that you said that you wrote one book after 10 years, so I already know you have a writer's chest, right? You have a writer's chest, or you put unfinished unfinished works you have in a little cabinet or whatnot, keep them safe?
I don't have that many unfinished anymore. I started focusing on the screenplays on all my books. So if I've written a book, now I'm focused on writing screenplays. But with Freedom, it was quite easy to write that one because I just looked back at 13 years, the times I'd spent there, and started making notes from memory as to, like, when I met him in Las Vegas and what went on after that and after that. And when I started writing, I just looked back at my notes and it would remind me of something that had gone on, and I wrote about it. And I think I did a pretty good job.
I take it that Freedom is more, it's more autobiography, more of an autobiography than it is a novel. This is
Yeah,
like a biography, so to speak.
it
So
is, a partial time of my life, something that went on after I hit 50 and went on for the next 13 years. Was so important to me, I had to write about it.
now, without getting too into it, but is this person, is this one of those Hollywood endings where you and him rode off into the sunset, or was there something that was, or more bittersweet?
You know what? We talked about riding off in the sunset, but we kind of went our separate ways for several years, but we remained friends. And that was what was so cool about it. I could call him about anything. He'd call me. We talked probably a couple times a month for 10 years after I left there. And it was just like 2 weeks before, okay, we had talked about getting together again, just meet up in Oklahoma City and, for the good old times and get together again. And we'd agreed to do that. And he was going to take care of some things on the ranch, and we'd talk about it later. So about 2 weeks after that, I get a phone call that he'd been tragically killed in a car accident. So that finally ended our relationship for sure, and we're good. But we sure had a good story when we were living it.
Yeah, I'm very sorry for your loss, Anita.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was a good guy. We all have our problems, and his happened to be drinking. He tended to drink too much, but he was a fun drunk, so it made my life a little interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, still that's still tragic, still tragic. I
Yeah.
mean, a lot of those, I take it he was a cowboy, I take it was like a rodeo guy,
He
horse rider.
Well, he was a cowboy, and what we had in common was our love for rodeo. And he was raising rodeo bulls when I met him. He had a small herd of rodeo bulls, and since my grandfather had been involved in that, I was interested. The minute he talked about being in that business. And when I went to Freedom, it wasn't a month or two later I became the owner of. I purchased about a head of 40 bucking bulls and jumped right into the bucking bull business. So we became stock contractors. Excuse me, Scott stock contractors for the PBR, and our bulls bucked for at least 7, 8 years. We were contractors for them. They bucked all over the country, from New York City to Anaheim, California, and everywhere in between. We had some really good bulls, and he was good at what he did. Our breeding program was great, and we had a lot of fun and spent a lot of money.
How do you feel now? I mean, when you're writing the book, um, was it more catharsis, more release for you? The more you wrote, the better you felt, or was it like every time you sat down in front of a type, because that's got to be super hard. I know that from experience. It's hard to sit there and write about that, or write about something like that, and you keep writing, you keep going to it, you keep going to that well, like I got to keep writing because you got all this pain inside you, so you turn it into, in fact, this show, what I'm doing now, is basically, I'm not a writer per se. I mean, I wrote a blog, but I'm not a writer per se like yourself, a novelist.
Uh-huh.
But I do this as that. I'm doing the same thing as you did when you wrote Freedom. I'm doing the
Yeah.
same thing. So I totally can relate to what you're talking about. I don't know your experience or your pain, and I wouldn't be totally wrong in suggesting that.
You
But
know, It was very therapeutic, you know. I mean, I'm sure you can identify with that.
Yeah.
Uh, but it wasn't all that painful. I mean, for the first 12 years, it was just nothing but fun. And we were successful, and it was a good life. We traveled with the bulls all over. And I had started a Western guest ranch there in Freedom, Oklahoma. So we were busy with that. We had a restaurant and a rodeo arena, had different events at our arena, and and a bar. Oh, I opened a bar, and that was a whole new experience for me. You know, I mean, I kind of had a sheltered life up until that bar opened, and then boy, did I get a lesson. But
Hmm.
you know, we're out in the middle of nowhere, so it was kind of crazy how far people would come. Though it had a great reputation, and people would come for steak dinners and our, you know, good drinks, margaritas, and we had. It was a lot of fun, and then. I don't know who, you know, if it was fate or what, but about 4 years into it, my restaurant burned to the ground. So that's kind of when things started tumbling down. And it's those things that are sad to me. It's not the relationship so much. I mean, we had a good time. He was from there, born and raised, and so we had a lot of family connections, and he had good friends, close friends, and I fit right in. It was a good life. I don't have any regrets. I do it all over again, and that's why I wrote the script because I want to do the movie, and then I get to relive it.
Right. Right. So, now screenwriting. Now, I take it now that you're. I'm taking it now that every you write a book, you're following that up with a screenplay.
Yes, that's true. I am.
Yeah, that's a really
Yeah,
good idea, Anita. I mean, that's smart.
yeah,
I don't think I've ever had anybody say that. You know, like they'll sit there and say they'll write a story and then they'll write a screenplay, but I don't think I've ever had anybody come up there and say, first I'm going to write the novel out, and then I'm going to right away before I do anything else, I'm going to follow up with the screenplay. I think that's pretty cool.
yeah.
Now, when you write your novels, you know, I do ask, as a lot of writers do this. When you write them, do you have like people you see playing the parts in the role, for Freedom? Like, what actress would you like to see play your role?
Oh my gosh, already picked her out. She's an actress by the name of Lisa Varga, and you know, we're not a high budget film. I mean, I can't afford to go get some of the top A-list actresses and actors to play because we got a $5 million budget, and that's not going to go far. But I mean, Lisa Varga is a $5 million. I mean, she's a multi-million dollar actress. She really knows her stuff. I've met her. She reminds me of me. We think alike. Our lifestyles have kind of been similar, and so she plays Cheyenne. I haven't really picked a rowdy yet, which is what I call the cowboy in the book and the screenplay. But we're keeping our options open for that one, and there's a lot of good parts in it, you know, for some good names to play the other parts.
Now, you sound like you already got your budget, or are you in the middle of raising the money for the production?
We got the budget, but man, we need the partner now with the money in the bank. You know, we're in development. If we're into pre-production, you know, we can move right into production. I mean, my director is a gal named Tawny McClure. Her father was a famous actor in that was in the Virginian. Gosh,
Yeah,
what is
Doug.
Doug McClure?
Yeah.
Doug McClure was her father, and she's been around Hollywood since she was born, you know, and been around the Western lifestyle. So Tawny has agreed to direct it, and I'm just thrilled about that because she understands that lifestyle.
Yeah, I didn't know that she had moved into directing until you said her name. I'm going like, okay, that's where she been, because I remember watching her when I was younger. She was quite an actress, and
Yeah,
her dad was one of my very favorites.
yeah, yeah. She's done a lot. You know, she's been a singer as well. She did well as a singer and directing, producing. She's been doing quite a bit of stuff lately, producing several films. So,
Now,
and it's
have you yourself directed any? Have you yourself produced anything at all? Have you even done some? Have you done any short films? You know, have you ever produced any short films or screen wrote for any short films yet? Cut your teeth.
I have not. I cut my teeth in 2004 on a reality show. We got a phone call at the ranch one time from Warner Brothers, and they said they were looking for a country western type family to star in a reality TV show, and I jumped right on it. So I worked with Warner Brothers and ABC, CB, I mean all of them there for about a year. We filmed at the ranch. We flew to Hollywood. We went through psychological testing. We went through the whole thing, and we were ready to film that darn reality show. All the families, my daughters were involved, his kids were involved, his friends were involved. It was going to be a show on the ranch, and kind of pitting the city kids to the family, or to the country kids, their lifestyle and different competitions and stuff. Well, the day before, we're all to fly to Burbank to a studio where they'd done the set and everything. I get a phone call that they canceled us after a whole year. So
Yeah.
I got my feet wet there. It's kind of fickle, that Hollywood.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? I mean, I've heard that. I've heard that one before many times too. Like you get all the way to the starting line, and then then nothing. It does
Yeah,
happen. Projects get canceled or whatnot. But you're right.
yeah,
You got the entire year of experience. So I
yeah.
mean, some people would be bitter and like, yeah, whatever. But I like the attitude that you have of like, gosh, I got a free education for a year. Now
Yeah.
what? Now what am I going to do with it? You
I
know,
got a little I got a little settlement too. I
Okay.
didn't I didn't take it without a fight. But
Oh, of course, they need to pay you. They need to pay you for your time and whatnot. By all means,
yeah,
yeah. But
and a
you got
little write and a little write up in the National Enquirer.
is that still around?
No, this was in 2004. I don't know where they are now
Yeah,
or
I was
what's
gonna
going
say
on.
now. I don't. Yeah, I was gonna say I
I
don't
have
think I've.
no idea.
I don't even know if they're. I don't even know. It's funny. I don't even know they're still around.
They may
Honestly,
not be.
I'm trying to
I mean,
remember the last time I saw one,
think
and I
about
can't
it.
remember.
That was like 20 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Uh, um, So, what was your very first book that you wrote and published? What was your was it
Well,
Freedom? Was it
it was
Freedom your
Freedom.
first book?
That was my
Okay,
first one. Yeah, yeah. I
okay,
was determined to get that one done. And
okay.
I had a publisher when I, first put it out there, and they were giving me the runaround. I finally got rid of them, and I just kind of now self-published one. Went back, did a little rewrite to Freedom, self-published on Amazon, and all of my books I'm self-publishing. So
Now, are they all ebooks, or or
they're,
people can order them or order them on demand? Like, if I want to buy a book, you print up a copy and send it to me, or
yeah. I mean, if you want to buy them from me, they're available. um, I have a. You have to contact me like through on Facebook or maybe on my movie site, to get to me, contact me, and I can send you a signed copy of it. But they are for sale on Amazon, and I just got Freedom and Dakota Wells available now on Barnes and Noble too, online sales.
yeah, I just noticed your Dakota Wells was your latest book.
Yeah.
So talk to us a little bit about Dakota Wells. I mean, is it this is a purely it's all your books other than Freedom, or all your books purely fiction, or they have a little bit of you and people in your life in them, semi biographies.
Maybe semi biographies, especially the gambler. Everybody in that book I kind of knew, but of course I changed the names to, um, but
I mean, the main character is not named Brady.
and the gambler, no. Well, I think one's named Henry. He should have been called Harry, but I was kind of afraid for the house
Well,
call him Henry.
how about
But
this? How about we do this? I'll show you. You ever heard that game called 6 Degrees to Kevin Bacon, where someone will name an actor, and then within 6 names they'll connect them to something to Kevin Bacon.
I don't know, but I sure like Kevin Bacon and his
Well,
wife.
here's one, because I saw The Gambler, and I was smiling at that because I liked of course they made TV movies out of it with Kenny Rogers. So
Yeah.
I'm sitting there, I saw The Gambler, going, okay, so there's Kenny Rogers, and the very last movie they made with the Gambler, they had him riding to play in this massive poker game in San Francisco. So it was him, and in fact, Doug McClure was in that, I believe.
Really?
Yeah, because what they did for the last movie, which I thought was such an interesting thing, was they paid homage to all the old Western TV shows by having the surviving people who are able to come out and make appearances in the movie
Wow.
as their character, as their character. So the
Great.
Virginian was in the Gambler.
Wow. I love that story. I'll
Yeah.
have to ask Tawny more about that.
So they rode to San Francisco to play a poker game in honor of their friend, which is a gentleman named Paladin.
Paladin. Oh, yeah.
Now, Paladin, as you probably knows from my that's if you notice from my channel's name is Have Cheetah Will View, and that
Yeah.
is a homage to the to Have Gun Will Travel. And
Really?
yes,
Interesting.
and if you look right above you, you'll see the picture of the cat there, and my cat's name is Paladin.
All right. Okay. I see it.
See, so there you go. So you wrote a book, and it connected us. I,
Yeah.
I I'd like to see Kevin Bacon top that one. So tell us a little bit. So let's go into a little bit more about Dakota Wells. And on the other books look sound. I mean, they totally sound. I have a feeling you know how to write action scenes.
Uh,
Because I'm looking at your books and going like, all these right here. Maybe Cowboy Logic not so much, but everything else I'm reading here, The Gambler, The Ranch on Huckleberry Ridge, Dakota Wells. I mean, I just got that really good sense of it's good versus evil, like in the old days,
yeah.
in the old. And now you mentioned that it's a modern Western per se, but I still feel he probably has a little edge into it.
I try. I try. You know what I have really had the problem with was writing the romance part.
Yeah,
I'm better at action.
yeah, that is, what's really gets me. I'll tell you what gets me, and it does. It gets me when I see a man write it. When a male writes a love scene in a book, I don't know.
Maybe he has some help.
It,
He's probably
it,
got a woman in the background telling him what to say.
I hope so because and then they have the audio books too, and
Oh, yeah.
I can't do that. I can't do audiobooks, especially something like that, because I'm hearing some guy reading about a intimate scene, and I'm like, yeah, I'm checked out of that. I can't do that.
You know,
I rather have an audio drama made out of it. Like
yeah.
Dakota Wells. Okay, what I'm gonna make an audiobook of this, but it's not going to be just one person reading. I want it to be sort of acted out. I want the different. If the part calls for a woman, I want a woman to read that part. I don't want a
There you
male.
go. I like that. Yeah.
Now, now have you done has any of your works seen audiobooks? Have you put out an
Yeah.
audiobook?
Yeah. Freedom. There's an audio version of Freedom.
Who read it? You?
Oh my gosh. I hired a little gal from Texas, and that was so long ago. I'm sorry, but her name escapes me. Um, but that was, I did that about 5 or 6 years ago, and she did the audio version.
Okay. Okay. Now, is that still available for
Yeah.
any? Okay, that's awesome. Okay, good, good.
Yeah.
Um,
You can get that through Amazon, the audio version.
Now, what's been the hardest book for you to write? Sounds like Freedom was the most therapeutic, but what was the hardest book that you had to write?
It had to have been Dakota Wells because, like I said, I shelved that for about 10 years.
Mm,
And only recently brought it out and finished it. I was sitting around kind of waiting for this financial partner to come into play with Freedom. I don't like to be, I have to have something to do. So
yes.
I thought I'm going to finish that book, and it didn't need a lot. It took me about 2 months, I think, and I was ready, and I just self-published it and sent it out into the world, and I'm waiting to get some reviews now.
Oh my gosh. What is that now? Now, how many books have you released as far as ebook?
They're everyone. They're all ebooks. They're hardcover, paperback, and ebook, and then Freedom has the Audible as well.
What's been your experience, Anita? What's been your experience like in the world of ebooks?
I don't know. It's pretty simple to do. You know, you write the book, and I don't know. To download it and stuff on Amazon.
I was actually talking about it critic wise.
Oh, critic wise, I don't. You know what? I've never seen anybody criticize my work. I don't know. I'm not crazy. Uh,
No, actually, not at all. The reason I mention it is because I used to write a blog.
uh,
I wrote that, and and I actually I actually saw someone advertise themselves saying that they would give writers a good review for $300.
oh my God, I don't like to pay anybody for anything.
Especially that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
actually got offered $300 to interview somebody. They said, "Would you interview me? I got a new movie
Wow.
coming, and
Well, you
I'll pay."
didn't turn that down, did you?
Hell yes, I did. That's unethical. That's not ethical.
Okay, there you go.
No, no, not
Yeah,
at all. No, you buy
yeah.
it, but no, no, no. That's why I asked you about the ebook. If you have you experienced that where people come up there and say, "Hey, if you want a good review, I'll do it for $100."
No,
Or something
no.
like that. Because I see, okay. Have you read some of the other self-published authors? Do you read other authors?
Like I said, I haven't had a lot of time for reading.
Yeah.
Just stay busy jumping right into the screenplay, promoting getting the word out, trying to find people to fund it, and I just stay busy. And I did just start co-hosting a new radio show on iHeart. Our first show is on Saturday morning
That
out of
will get your
Tucson.
footprint. Yeah, that's going to get your footprint out big.
Yeah,
Now,
I hope so.
iHeartRadio. Now, tell us a little about the show. I think it airs every day, right? For a half
No,
hour.
we're gonna just start out one day a week, 1/2 hour, and we may go right away to 2 days a week for an hour show.
Okay.
But we taped our first show, and it's going to be on the air Saturday morning,
Okay.
and it's on early in Tucson, Arizona. It's on at six to 6:30, coming out
Uh,
of Tucson. So East Coast, it'll be like 9 o'clock. Might not be bad, but I'm co-hosting with
is it about writing?
it's going to be about the subject freedom. It's going to be about independence. It's going to be about the Western way of life, living your life authentically.
So,
We're going to have guests that are big in the Western world.
so basically, we're talking history.
Modern day stuff, I mean, bull riders, bronc riders, other authors that write in the Western genre.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay. Uh,
it just got to be focused on the Western lifestyle. So,
okay. I can see that. Arizona is pretty big for that. They have wild horses in Arizona.
they do. Mustangs,
Yeah, yeah. They have a
donkeys too.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I've seen on video, and they're like people are on Bureau of Land Management land, and they're
Yeah,
riding down the river, and next thing you know, there's all these horses that come out of the blue, and I'm going like, those are
yeah.
wild horses. That's amazing. And
Hundreds, if not thousands. I mean, they have a lot of them there.
yeah, I know sometimes they have to call them sometimes, and I know people get really upset about that.
Yeah.
Hey, brother Max, how are you, sir? Glad you're here. Glad you're here. We're talking with novelist, screenwriter, and soon-to-be producer Anita Waggoner. So, how did the radio show come about? Who's your co-host?
Okay.
How'd you put it together?
About, I'd say a year ago, I'm on LinkedIn, social media site, and I had reached out to Russ. His name is Russ Stevenson. I'd reached out to him because he had a radio show, and I suggested that maybe he could interview me.
Hmm.
And we went back and forth and back and forth. And just recently, oh gosh, about a month and a half ago, he got in touch and he says, "Guess what? I'll be doing iHeartRadio, and I'd like you to be my co-host." So we just kind of jumped into it. We're going in, whether we
Have
make it
you
or not.
Have you ever met him? Have you ever met him or done FaceTime with him before?
All Zoom, Zoom calls on the phone, talk every day. If I don't hear from him, I'm like, oh my God, where's Russ?
Hmm.
But we do. We talk every day, coming up with all kinds of ideas. He's really quite the marketer, and he
I
even had
know.
me reach.
I was just going to say the same thing about you, but I love the fact that you reached out to him and said, "Hey, if you want someone to interview, I'll be your Huckleberry."
Yeah, I have no problem reaching out. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't. See, that's key. That's key. And so now you're going to be doing the radio show. How have you experienced social media? How social media how's that treated you so far? I looked at your Instagram page, and you seem to be having like cold feet on that platform. Is that social media? I mean, as far as promoting
yeah.
your work.
I don't go much on Instagram. We have a Facebook, page, and we have one we call Friends of Freedom group.
Mhm.
I have like almost 5,000 friends on that. And then on my personal Facebook page, another 5,000. On LinkedIn, I have about 4,000 followers. And I don't know why. I'm just not hooked on Instagram. I need to
No,
get more
no, no.
involved.
Yeah, I mean, but you got your group,
Yeah.
and of course, the secret of that Facebook groups, make them private and good
Yeah. That's what
moderators.
I've done. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
First
tried
time,
the public and I got too many nutcases.
oh my God. No, I had a friend of mine. I told him, listen, your website, your group page is about ready to get knocked out. Facebook's gonna come over and about ready to eliminate it. He goes, why? I
Yeah.
says, have you seen it lately? I said, it's a cesspool. I said, just give me the
Yeah.
give me the hammer and I'll clean it up for you. And
Yeah.
so yeah. Um
No, I don't, I look at everything that wants to go on there and I let you come on. How about that? I,
I went in there and I posted our interview in the group.
you did. Yeah.
In the group. I did. And this is evergreen. So if you see it like, next month or 2 months from now, you know that I'm still thinking about you and pushing it out there as best I can.
Good. I
If we
appreciate
can
that.
if we can help get your movie made, uh, you
Love
know,
it.
yeah. I know a lot of my friends are looking at me so cockeyed right now, but you know what? I am so enjoying talking with you so far, and
Good.
yeah, it's been a lot of fun. So now you said that the iHeart Radio is going to be in Tucson. Now, will that's syndicated though, right? So you're going to be it
Yeah.
originates. Are you in Tucson now?
No, I'm in Idaho. Russ
That's
is
what I thought.
in
That's what
Arizona.
I
It's
thought.
going to be
Yeah,
on KNST 790 AM on
yeah. You're in
iHeart.
Is it Coeur d'Alene?
Coeur
It's sort of like, yeah.
d'Alene,
That's
Idaho.
what I thought. That's what I thought. I'm going like, okay, so how are they going to do this? I know some. Like I have a friend of mine named Ross, who's a retired Secret Service agent, and he has a radio show too. And he has a co-host they do the show side by side. It's
Yeah,
amazing. That's one good thing about social media. Before you felt like you had to be in the same studio in order to do the show
yeah.
together, but now you don't have to do that. Now
No,
here we are. You're in Idaho. I'm in Michigan, and here we are talking.
yeah.
Um,
Amazing.
yeah. Uh, uh, now, what are some of the ideas that you've come up with for the show? Because he said that he has some ideas. So how do you decide which to talk about? And because I'm sure you want to talk about freedom, but how do you balance that out? With other subjects.
He actually came to me because of my Western influence, my background. And he's excited. This is a new venture for him to all of a sudden be talking about the Western way of life because he's never done it before. And so I'm kind of controlling the theme, but he's the host and I'm the co-host, and I'll try to behave myself. But that's what we're doing. It's a whole new thing for him. I told him to get into the role, so I sent him to the boot barn. He went out and got himself a hat and boots and a vest and Western shirt.
Oh my gosh, you did
He's
not do
getting
that,
into
did
it.
you?
We're
Now,
having fun already.
Now, now is this going to be solely just cowboy stuff, though, right? You're not gonna include politics into it, right? You're just gonna.
No, we hope to avoid the politics. Actually,
Yeah.
I'm sorry I brought it up in the beginning here, but
No, no, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I'm good to go. I mean,
okay,
believe me,
okay,
I can handle it. I can handle it. We're doing awesome.
okay.
I tell you the truth. I'll be honest with you. I'm looking at my chat and I'm shocked. I thought for sure Rocky would be here with us, hanging out with
You
us
know,
today.
he said he was going to listen. He was all excited about it. I talked to him earlier today. He's quite the
Okay.
guy.
Yes,
Yeah,
he really
nice
is.
to have Rocky on your side. I'm telling you, he's been the best.
Yeah, he really has been. Um, now tell us. I've been sitting here and I've been thinking. I've been hearing you talk about freedom. Freedom. I'm going like, tell us a little bit about the town. Now, did you follow him into Freedom, Oklahoma, or were you already there in Freedom and then met him in Las Vegas?
I met him in Las Vegas. And when he said, I met him at the National Finals Rodeo, and just we had an instant connection. He was a character. He was funny. He made me laugh when I wanted to cry because I was going through a divorce.
Mm,
He was just a sweetheart. And he said he was from Freedom, Oklahoma. I said, oh my God, I need to go to Freedom after 20-year marriage and things falling apart for me. And so I went. He invited me to come for New Year's. And now Freedom is it's not in the Panhandle, but it's up in the
okay.
northwest corner.
I was gonna ask you,
And
how big of a town is it?
population today is 179, so pretty small,
179.
pretty
Wow.
small, very small.
Does
But
it,
our ranch was
does it have a stoplight in it?
no stoplights. It's got asphalt highway, but a lot of dirt roads around there. It's
Mhm.
all ranch and farmland and wide open spaces. To get to Walmart, either direction, you got to go 30 miles. So it's out
Oh
in the
my,
middle of nowhere.
it is. Do you ever see wagon trains go through it?
No, but it was
Heading
rumored
west?
that they did.
Yeah.
I mean, they settled that town, in the late 1800s. Well, when the Oklahoma land rush happened, that's
Right.
when that little town was formed. And at one time, it was quite a thriving town, I was told, but over time, it's just dwindled down to not much of anything. Cute little western town. It's got wooden sidewalks and wooden storefronts and a nice saloon with cold beer. They call it the Cimarron Saloon. Little gal named Mona owns that. We went back there 2 years ago and put on a bull ride to kind of promote the movie. And they were so welcoming. I didn't know how they would react because it's been a while since I've been back, but I'll tell you, they welcomed me with open arms. I felt like I went home again.
Right. How did you end up going to how did you end up going from I mean obviously from Freedom. I mean, how did you get to Idaho? Did you move from Freedom to Idaho, or was there any stop between?
No, all the time I was in Freedom. I maintained a home in Washington. I was pretty lucky. I had a darn good life. I mean, my ex-husband and I were in the car business, so we had several new car dealerships and lived a life O'Reilly, so to speak. So I had a home in Washington on Samish Island, a nice beach home, and then I also had a home in Arizona, Scottsdale. So when I was on the ranch, that was kind of my third home. So sometimes when I get fed up with the bull BS there in Freedom, I'd head back to Arizona. I'd go back to Washington and recover, and then go back down there and give it hell again. But
So
yeah,
I can see that. I mean, and I mean, I could definitely see what a rich source of material for you to
yeah,
draw from. Like I
yeah.
mean, I'm sure. Have you ever had? Have you? I'm sure you haven't, but I'll ask it anyway. But have you ever come across a case of writer's block?
Yes, I did with Dakota Wells.
Really?
I did. I try. I bring that thing out and I look at it and I try to make sense of it, and it just didn't. And just till recently, and then it just seemed to flow. So
Now, did you
not
work
so
on any?
often.
Huh?
Not often. I don't. It seems to flow pretty good.
How did you overcome your writer's block?
Like I said, I kind of made myself pulled it out, looked at it, started making notes of where I could take it from where it was, and
Man,
started
I
putting
can't
it
tell you.
together.
I can't tell you how many times I'd be sitting there. sitting here in front of my keyboard, writing. I'd be sitting there with just like, I know what I'm writing, because you feel it's like people will say, well, when you have writer's block, does that mean like you don't have any ideas? No, you do. You have plenty of
Yeah,
ideas, but it's making it go from your brain to your fingers. Like, you know,
yeah,
they say, well, the best way to start it is just to write anything. Doesn't matter what it is, as long as you write something, just and but there'd be many times I've been telling you, I've been sitting there going like, I don't know what I'm gonna say. I do have something to say, but I don't know how to get it started. And it's just like it's sit there for like, gosh, I've sat here for hours to tell you the truth. Back when I wrote,
really.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, you're blessed to be able to communicate, through your voice. I do better when I write. I'm a excellent typist, so I can do 110 or better, on the keyboard. And when I write, man, it just flows. When I have a conversation like we're doing right now, I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to say next?
Really, I see. To me, that's just to me, it's actually the opposite because the key thing. I mean, and tell me, what do you think is the key component in writing and actually writing and interviewing? You know what the key component is? I found
I'm here to learn.
curiosity.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that's good.
it's
That's good.
always like what's coming next. When
Hmm.
you're sitting there and you're writing your own book and you're sitting there, you yourself are sitting there, Anita, you're writing like, all right, what's Dusty gonna do now? Like, oh my gosh, are the bandits gonna get away? I don't know, but let me write about it.
Yeah.
It's just like, and to me, it's like you get here and you talk to somebody, and all of a sudden it's just like, I just wanna, we start asking questions.
You know
Um,
when I started having fun writing is when I realized, man, this doesn't have to all be the truth. You can throw in some fiction, and then it was fun. Rather than just telling the truth about what I knew, then I'd start making things up, and then it made it more fun.
yeah, yeah, I get that. I get that. I want to go back to real quick. I want to go back. I know we talked about it briefly, but I still want to go back to it a little bit because I do think that, I do think because there's other people, it happens in the entertainment business too. And once you get freedom up and running, you
Yeah,
can ask these people some of the questions I'm asking you, and you'll be
yeah.
surprised by some of their answers. But what are some of your contemporaries? Like, you said you grew up reading Danielle Steele and whatnot, but what about today? It's like if I came up to you and said, "Well, I'm going to buy two books. I'm going to buy Freedom, and I'm going to buy one other book by one other author. Who would you recommend me
Oh
write?"
my god. Oh my goodness, I'm not prepared to answer that one because I don't have a clue. I'm so focused on. Isn't that terrible? I'm so focused on myself.
No,
Like,
well, that's what it should. That's what it should be. It should be. But at the same time, you got to be able to relax and.
who was the author that did all those lawyer books? I mean, I read him, but I can't think of his name. He did all these stories
Uh,
about.
oh, John Grisham.
Yeah, no, I love John Grisham. I'll recommend John Grisham because I mean, I don't even know if he's still around, but uh, I do like his writing and his stories. Love him.
Uh,
I love him. I wrote or read his books when I was writing The Gambler. Kind of pick up a little bit on the law end of it and all that stuff. So
Now,
yeah,
what part of like I know people say when people see the Gambler, that's immediately is the first thing they think of is the song or the movies. But tell us a little bit about what is the Gambler about? What makes it stand out from? I mean, other than you said that your movies are modern,
yeah.
more modern per se.
Okay.
But what makes the Gambler stand out? Why should I read it and enjoy it?
Okay. The Gambler, and Lord, I don't know where it came from when I started writing it, but it starts out he is the son, a young son of Russian immigrants in New York City. And his father is a gangster. He works for the mob. And his mother is a pie maker. But the story takes them. They end up in North Carolina as time goes by, and the father is crazy, nasty mobster, and he ends up murdering his mother. So the poor and then kills himself. So then the poor kid goes to an orphanage, and he's raised in an orphanage till he's 18, from 10 till 18.
Well,
Well,
wait,
in the
I have one question. Did the dad come in? Was he like a legal immigrant or illegal?
he was legal. He and the mother both were legal. They came
Damn,
across. They came from Russia on the ship, and came through Ellis Island and all that.
damn those Russian immigrants.
Oh God. But the young boy, he learns how to gamble in the orphanage. There's a little mobster guy works in the kitchen. He teaches him everything about poker. He teaches him how to cheat, teaches him how to cheat and win. And that's how the guy ends up making his livelihood. But he commits a horrible crime when he right after he gets married, has a beautiful little baby girl, married a woman that has from a family with money and all that. He commits this crime. So he has to flee North Carolina in the middle of the night. He hops a boxcar, a freight train, and he leaves and he never comes back. But he ends up over time in Las Vegas, where he creates a huge gaming empire and then goes back, reconnects with his infant daughter, who is now a young attorney, brings her to Vegas, and she takes over and then takes it all into the online, takes it from the 50s gaming into online modern day gaming today. The book.
Okay, okay,
Tell
I
me.
like it. I like it. No, I
Yeah,
like
it's
it.
a good one. You know what? I love it. I love it.
No, no, I think it's very exciting. I think it's a good subject. It's a
Yeah.
good subject to write about. People love. I don't know what it is, but people love crime. I think
Yeah.
I think it's more. I don't know. It's like you look at a book like Freedom, which is basically just beyond us. It's a love story. That's what I
Yeah.
get. I get when you tell me about freedom and I hear it in your voice and your mannerisms. I'm thinking this is a love story. This is like
Yeah.
and I'm like I wonder how many people will sit down and write or read a love story.
I
You
know,
know,
but you
you
know
know.
what? Men love it. Men give me great reviews when they read it because it's the cowboy too. It's telling his story. It tells his story that more than it does mine. It talks about his childhood and his upbringing. His bull riding days when he was a young guy and working as a bouncer in a bar when he was 17 years old. I mean, he had quite the rugged lifestyle, and probably if I didn't know about his lifestyle, I may not never have written Freedom because his life made it interesting. It brings a lot to the story.
Well, I think it's gonna be. I think it's you've been working your ass off for years now, bringing this out there. And believe me, I've seen this before. I've seen artists that have worked up to 5 years to bring a
Oh
project to
yeah,
life. So do not give up.
I
Do
will.
not give up. I think the radio show. I think the
Yeah,
radio show is going to be a door opener for you, Anita,
I do
because
too.
I do, because a lot of people are going to connect on that,
Mhm.
and I mean, like I say, I know you won't be able to. Hopefully, you get that. Hopefully, you get that extra bounce where you can get that up to an hour long. If you can do
Yeah,
that.
yeah, we're going to work on that right away. We're going to have a little talk show and then have the guests maybe speak for 30 minutes or something. We're trying to figure it out.
Wow. Right, because 30 minutes is not enough to do anything.
No,
I mean, it
no.
really, it's you're there. You're like, hi, I'm Anita, and your host name. Hi, welcome to Tucson. It's 100 degrees here. Well, thank God for that. I was only 60 up here in Idaho. I'm not roasting my ass out, down there. I mean, they say, your 30 minutes is up. Well,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
need at least an hour. You need an hour to really get the flow going, right?
you do. Our first show was kind of an introductory thing, so he could introduce me as his co-host. So it's pretty, it went real fast, 30 minutes, and boom, it was over. So
Had you have
he,
you ever done anything like that before? I mean, obviously, when you said you did cars, so cars, did you do the commercials for your dealerships?
not for that one, but years ago I worked in the car business down in Sacramento. I did a few of the commercials, but I've
Yeah.
always done the marketing. When I had my restaurant and lodge and everything in Oklahoma, I won awards from the state for my marketing efforts, because I'm pretty good at it. And so that's what I enjoy, you know.
How do you
Right
think?
now, go ahead.
How do you think advertising and marketing? How has it changed? I mean, for like a writer such as yourself, like how do you go out there and promote yourself now, other than like yes, you have Instagram and LinkedIn, but overall, how what are some of the other ways that for a writer, for a writer? What's some of the better ways for them to get the word out about their works that have worked for you?
Well, this summer, for the first time ever, I did a lot of book signings around Coeur d'Alene, and then sent out a news release. And I only sent it to one outlet. I need to send it to others, but to the local paper. So they featured me about 2 weeks ago, full page entertainment section. Anita Waggoner, famous Idaho writer. Yeehaw!
Nice,
I
nice.
don't know. You've got to constantly be marketing yourself.
That's cool though.
Yeah,
Considering your background, and they push you as a native too. That's a good thing. People
yeah.
want to be interested in supporting the supporting. Now, has anybody ever written to you about freedom after they read Freedom, because that's your most emotional book? What mentioned that the men love it, but what about the ladies? Do they, or fans in general? Do you get a lot of fan mail, and do you answer it all if they send it to you?
I got to admit, I don't.
It's a dying, isn't it a dying aspect of
Dying thing, I
publicity?
think. Yeah, I get a lot of comments on Facebook, and I always try to respond. If there's questions on there or whatever, I always try to be personal with it and explain a few things if I get some questions. I don't
Right,
know. Yeah, I
right.
think the other kind of it. I don't get any fan mail. What am I doing wrong?
Yeah, you know what it is?
I get
I'm not
fan
real
emails. How's that?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if writers, other than physically being in the store, I'm not sure if, because before, back in the day, when I was a kid, man, if you see something you liked, you could actually write a letter to them and put it in the
Yeah,
mailbox. You might get, it might be a, a standard thing, but at least you got something back. It may
yeah,
have been, and writers, man, I used to hear all the time about science fiction writers and adventure writers. People will send them their books to get signed. Like, I
yeah,
really
yeah.
enjoyed the book.
I've had that happen a couple times. They'll send it, I'll sign it, and send it back. Yeah,
That's
and I
really
get
cool.
quite a few requests, on Facebook. They'll buy a copy from me, so I'll autograph it and send it out to them. So. But
Uh,
book sales, let me tell you, not what I thought it would be.
it's
When I
hard,
first
isn't
started
it?
writing, oh man, I was calculating those millions of dollars. It's going to come in. That hasn't happened.
Oh my God. I'll be honest with you. I'm always shocked. I've always been shocked by hardbacks. You go inside of a bookstore and you see a hardback book, and you
Yeah,
look at the back, you look at the price of it, and you just go
yeah,
like, how are you asking me to pay $30 for a book?
I know, I
I
know.
truly, I want to understand that. Well, back when I first started collecting books, I used to get them, and I used to get paperbacks. I remember when they
Well,
used to be $1.95,
yeah,
$2.07 with
yeah,
tax.
I remember that too.
I could go down there to the newsstand in Ontario, California, with a $10 bill and walk out with 5 books.
Yeah, that don't happen anymore.
Oh my gosh. No, you go there, I go to the library. You probably heard me, if I don't know if you heard me before you came on, but I was talking about how every Tuesday I always go to the library.
Yeah.
And I always I'm always looking for new movies. But they have a section where they have recently released hardbacks, and they have them on the shelf there. And
Hmm.
once in a while I'll see, like, I'll wait for a Lee Child's book, or a John Sanderford book. I'll wait for a hardback, President Childs, and I'll go ahead and pick it up, because it's only going to be $3 or $1 for the bag sale, and then you open up the back of it, on the back of the cover, and there is $35,
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
$40, $40, and in Canada, and I'm
Yeah.
going like, people wonder why people don't read as much in America. Well, besides that, and the attack on the libraries. Did you know
Well,
there's over 40? Do you know there's over 4,400 books banned?
really, in the U.S. or
Yeah,
all
in the
over?
U.S. In the U.S., there's 4,400 books banned.
Wow.
And we need to send those. We need to send those people to freedom, so they can see what freedom is. Right?
Yeah, no
Well,
kidding.
no doubt about that. 4,400 books banned in the U.S. Insane. But I take a book from the library, and I open up there, and it's at $40.35. I'm going like, and people wonder why people don't read very much. How are
I
they supposed
know.
to go out there and afford that?
I know.
I'm,
I
I,
know it's terrible. I feel bad because mine are $20, for paperback on Amazon,
that's
and they give
normal.
you the guidelines, as to what you have to charge.
Yeah, you're
So
not allowed to undercut.
no,
No, that's what that. Yeah, I've seen that before with I've seen that before at conventions. You go to different conventions, and in fact, if you go to a convention, if you go to a book convention or a movie convention, it's set up a table. You
hmm
will find out what happened to you there too. The organizer will tell you you cannot undercut what the main stars is.
yeah,
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 it's quite honestly, that's horse crap. That's
it is.
horse
I
crap.
agree. You know
Yeah.
what? The debate's about ready to start.
Well, I got my money on Wolf. I know you got yours on.
Oh my! We need
What's
to
it,
talk.
how come you haven't read any of his books?
No way, no thank you.
I know. I got to be
Don't
honest
go
with you.
there.
I got to admit, I did try to read one of J.D. Vance's books. I did try.
Yeah.
I'm an action guy. I love action
Okay.
books, but I got to tell you, I see more depth in a comic book strip, and I'm not saying that
Okay.
because who he is. I'm just
Yeah.
saying that there's just some writers that just they write to the lowest common denominator, and it's just
Yeah.
like I love Dale Brown. Dale Brown, if you want to read a military book, read Dale Brown. He's amazing. Tom
Okay.
Clancy. Tom Clancy.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
his,
Yeah, he's good.
when Red Storm Rising was excellent.
Yeah.
His Jack
I read
Ryan
that.
book. His Jack Ryan books got a little wonky, but his early Jack Ryan books were really strong, real
Well, I'm
strong.
glad to know you're a reader. We
Oh
get.
yeah.
I'll message you and get your address. I'll ship you my books.
All right. All
And
right.
you can keep them.
That sounds good. And when freedom gets running, when you hit that, when you finally got yourself a start date,
Yeah,
let me know. Let me
I
know.
will.
Let me know about the cast, and then when the time comes, I will start filtering some of your cast through here, and we'll talk about the movie that way.
I love it. Appreciate that.
All
You're the
right.
best, Patrick.
All
You
right.
know,
You are too. Very, very cool to talk with you.
everything Rocky said about you was the truth.
Oh,
Good job.
thank you. Thank you so much. And have a great rest of the night and
Thank you.
stay safe. And we'll talk soon.
All right. Thank you very much. Bye bye.
To the chat, thank you for coming in. Thank you for coming in and hanging out with us today. Our guest was Anita Waggoner, and she is on her way. Oh, if you need to go, you can go ahead and just walk backwards. You're good.
Bye.
Bye. That was Anita Waggoner, and she had to go because she had another obligation. And so we will be back tomorrow night with scare actor Frankie Paracchio. Thursday, we'll be here with Kyle Curtis Flett. And we're not done with writers yet because on October 19th, Saturday at 4 p.m., we will be welcoming in our good friend, return of our good friend, Joe Cornett. Now we've seen Joe as our director and an actor for the Rio Bravo franchise. Now we're seeing Joe Cornett as a writer. He's got a brand new anthology book called A Prayer for the Damned and Other Tales from the West. And he will be here on Saturday, October 19th, to talk about that writing, about his book. And so I do hope that you'll come back out and support that show. And me too. I'm so ready for it. Joe's a hell of a human being, and I'm sure he's going to be just as a prolific a writer as he is a film director and an actor. I'm looking forward to that. To the chat, thank you guys so much for coming in. I know it's been a tough night for a lot of people, but thank you for coming in and watching, and thank you for your support. I appreciate it. We will see you tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Peace.